Hey y'all, so I've been having a really rough time the past few days on Dungeonborne. I had about 200k gold at the beginning of the week, and while I've been trying new things, most of it just isn't working out for me. So I decided to get onto the two classes that I'm more used to, Druid and Rogue, and play some classic games today. And I shouldn't have. I was continuing to do bad, or just getting one shot over and over and over. After this death on screen that you're seeing here, I was down to 11,000 gold, and I basically had no yarrow and no life essence, so I couldn't even really make many potions. I needed to chill out and farm, so I decided to play Druid with regrowth on casuals. The purpose of running regrowth is so that I never necessarily even need potions. I can just keep healing myself with that over time, and then everything that I'm getting, whether it's yarrow, life essence, or gold, is just straight profit. And you might be thinking that regrowth solos is awful for fighting in PvP, and you're right, but it's fun. And this was a very lucky first game. By getting this kill on this rogue, we basically just upgraded everything that we had to greens. And then at the end of the game, we ran into another druid, and instead of trying to fight, they just tried to walk away. They didn't even change to panther or anything, so it was basically just a loot goblin. Just ignore that thunderclap, please. Sadly, this person didn't have too much for us that we could have grabbed, but we were able to change some greens to blues. And just from that first game, we went from 11k to about 25k, and that's not including anything listed in our buyouts. And it's also not including how much yarrow, life essence, and the kit that we got during the game. And I didn't really explain what I'm doing, but it's pretty easy. Everything that you see dies. Everything that dies gets looted. There are some specific mobs that you are going to want to check more often than others, like the flying eyeballs and the goblin shaman, because they have higher drop rates than others. And if I knew that there was no other players in the map, like I killed them, they escaped, or I just loaded into a dead lobby, I would also kill the sub bosses. The sub bosses do take a long time to kill, but nothing else on the map does, so it's honestly worth your time considering that they can drop either blue or purple gear even in casuals. Speaking of, in our second game, we did kill a Khazra, and we got some purple gloves to sell. If you have access to the auction house, a lot of these things will actually sell for more than I'm getting. All of my sells are done in buyouts because I didn't pay for it because I am a broke boy. And honestly, if you put everything to be 95% in front of everyone else instead of 100, and you go into the next game, for the most part, everything should be sold by the time you're done. After 2 games, we're up to 41k from our 11 without any buyouts sold yet. In our third game, while we were looting around, we heard somebody fighting the Grim Reaper. And then he died. And that's awesome because we just get to run over and get the free loot them because we know exactly where he is. And there's nothing amazingly spectacular here, but green rings and green necklaces sell a whole lot for only being 1 slot. And that's good enough for me. We also killed a Grim Reaper of our own, and we picked up a pretty nice will ring that I'm probably just going to save for my druid later on down the line. Shadow Pen works great with Panther form, and Storm Rage is also pretty good for this class. We also surprised a Mithril fighter, and this fight is relatively easy considering he didn't see us coming. Whenever he uses Rage, we just back up, and then we go back in and we finish the fight. It is worth noting that unless you want to wear the gear that the Mithril has, it's not worth picking up because you can't sell it for anything. And then we killed a Khazra for another purple thing to sell. And we did get a crit rate, crit damage staff as well as a crit rate, crit damage mace that I'm going to be putting away, and I'm buying a new staff here so then I can save those stats for when I use trees, since those two substats scale the trees even more. But look, another mithril fighter. Once again, we're going to do the same game plan, except I started this off a whole lot worse and missed one of my lightning staffs. But we do get a good start compared to him, and we're just going to want to fight him whenever he uses rage and attack him whenever he thinks he can heal. And luckily for us, this guy has a few blues for us to sell in the buyout trades as well. Just as a side note, the skeletal mages also have a higher drop rate than normal. I forgot to mention them earlier when I was talking about the eyeball and the goblin shaman. This one actually dropped a purple sellable for us. And here's a before and after of our buyouts. And even without anything sold from this run yet, we are over 60k, which is really nice to see considering that we started at 11. That means that we got 50k in 2 games. Another mithril fighter. Do people even play the other mithril classes? This fight was definitely a lot closer. He was doing better at actually keeping up with me rather than the other two. But as long as he doesn't hit me too much while he's in rage, this is a 1 fight. I also baited like I was going to continue to run and turned around, and this actually made him make a giant mistake and pull out his crossbow. He was going to try to shoot me as I ran down the hallway, but instead I was right up in his face, smacking him. Nothing else significant happened. I didn't find any sub-bosses because there was another player, but I had enough stuff, so I just decided to leave. And then in our next game, we run into a DK pretty early on. This is the only other player in the match, so as long as we take him down, we're good to go on killing as many sub-bosses as we want. And I don't understand how this guy looted so much, but he had a full inventory in the span of like a minute, and I'm really impressed. I also don't know why he's running instead of just trying to fight, considering he's playing Death Knight, but I'm fine with it, I guess. Just as a tip, if you don't ever try to fight, you're never going to get better, so you might as well just fight and die rather than not fight at all. And I know fighting too much is why I'm broke in the first place, but practice makes perfect. Like, you can't get better at skills that you're not using. We also cosplayed cats and dogs, but this time the cats won. And we took down another Reaper. Honestly, these aren't that bad. Just make sure you kill the Archer Skelly because those can be annoying. And then I made a pretty awful mistake. I think I'm remembering right in saying that the Khazra has 4 attacks. 1 swing, 2 swings, a charge, and 5 swings into a scream that slows you. At this point, I was playing for a while. This was going to be my last game anyway because I was getting a little tired of looking at a screen for so long. And I was taking unnecessary damage that I didn't need to take. But it's fine, we have regrowth. I don't even need to bandage, right? I definitely should have, but I shouldn't have needed to. And then I read the first attack being right as a double swing, and then for some reason I thought that the next attack was also a double swing, but it was the 5 swing, and I went in and started to hit him, and I realized when it was too late. But you know, it's okay, things happen. In 4 games we made almost 200 yarrow, almost 300 life essence, and about 100k gold in casuals, which really isn't that bad. I mean, I'm happy with it. All right, and this is where we're going to be ending the video for today. So if you enjoyed the content, please just give the video a like, a comment, or consider subscribing to the channel. Any of those things help, and I really appreciate each and every one of you who do it. Also, if you're wanting to join a community of people who like Dark and Darker, Dungeonborne, and other extraction games like it, I'm going to have my Discord linked down in the description below. Feel free to click that, come by, and say hey. Oh, and my Twitch will be there too if you want to come by and watch me die, or occasionally get kills, or do things like right now where I'm soloing Wendigo with a priest, because why not? All right, I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you next time. Peace.